Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is 80 degrees outside in the Chicago area. And once again, welcome to a very exciting program of Back into Society. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed two of the most gruesome murders that anyone could see. We are now listening to the system as it tries to unfold its way out of just a tragic mess by much as three police officers across this nation. In Minnesota last night, a young brother was gunned down in a car, which was showed across the nation as a very smart thing was done, and that was to videotape uh, the encounter with police. And it was really the aftermath of the shooting, but however, it shedded some light on a situation for the nation to see and for the nation to make a clear and concise judgment upon a case which many across the nation believe is a cold act of murder. On the night of Tuesday, we witnessed two police officers wrestling with a brother in the state of Louisiana, and what we seen was, it was pretty tragic. This kind of heavy set brother is being wrestled down to the ground, and police officers clearly had scheduled him, but for some apparent reason, the police officer now draws his weapon and he, in cold blood, kills a man. He kills him, I'm talking about in cold blood, with the man on the ground. And this raises a question that here in America, there are many states that are allowing people to carry weapons. And if this is the reaction of police officers upon seeing someone with a weapon, then therefore it really calls for a change across this nation as to how police officers approach individuals that basically have legal right in this nation to carry a weapon. We as a people, we have witnessed I'm talking about tragic, here in the city of Chicago, with the murder of Laquan McDonald, a 16-year-old youth in Chicago, just gunned down in cold blood murder. And being gunned down in cold blood murder, it appears that police officers across this nation still have not gotten it right. Could it be a FOP thing, meaning where that police officers feel that they can still be above the law, even despite the fact that they have been basically exposed by way of video, and they can run to their union through the FOP, and that they can receive assistance? Why must we wrestle with clear-cut issues? I'm talking about so clear and convincing. Why must we wrestle with this? If this was a suspect that was taken into police custody on Tuesday night by the Louisiana police officers, this suspect would be charged. He would have faced a judge by now, and basically he would be considered as a murderer without a trial. So what makes it any different as far as a police officer. Just because you carry a gun and a badge, do that make you above the law? I say no. And many of you may agree and likewise say no. The problem with our criminal justice system is for years there have been layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of just police misconduct. Police murders have went unsolved, as well as cases where that police have brutalized entire communities and have literally gotten away. They have acted with impunity, and they have been rewarded for its wrongs and have been allowed to escape its peers. Who are the peers of these people that are being gunned down? It is surely not the men and women that are being called inside of courtrooms inside of Baltimore, Maryland right now, as a trial is being processed in the Freddie Gray case. And if I believe this is the third or fourth trial that is being conducted, with one ending in a mistrial. We must raise a serious question here in America. Are police officers above the law? My examination clearly reveals yes. I will explain to you why. Here it is in Chicago. And you know, this has probably occurred all over the nation. And as it have occurred all over the nation, I'm pretty sure that there have been people that have individually examined particular problems that have affected its people in its particular state. And in the state of Illinois, police officers are legally allowed to detain juvenile suspects. Take the juvenile suspect down to the police station to deprive that juvenile of access to a telephone, to notify their parents or a responsible guardian that is in their best interest. They are denied all access to telephones, to basically consult with attorneys. Yes, today the procedures are somewhat different, where that now it is legally required for most confessions to be videotaped. And I think all that are being basically provided by youth offenders. What we must examine are cases where that we had 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds taken down to police stations and literally tortured. Are these acts of child abuse? Yes. Why are agencies shielded from investigating misconduct within our police departments? Why are you legally held accountable if you should do some of the same acts of these police officers? You are charged. The police officer is rewarded. Why? Something's wrong with that picture, and something must change. If you take a youth down to a police station and you deny them their parents, you deny them access to youth officers, you beat them, you torture them, and you coerce confessions from them, that is a clear form of child abuse. If these allegations are made against you or I, then we are charged while the police officer escapes. What's wrong with that picture? It affords no liberty interest to your child, because judge after judge after judge in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s literally was confronted with these issues over and over and over again. It was their decisions and determination to basically take the safeguards of kids and to treat them as a totality factor, to weigh as to if they understood that they were under arrest, if they understood the charges against them. None of that is the issue. The issue is, did the police officers that took suspects down to police stations follow the law? In most instances, in my examination, through my examination, I have found no, they have not. In the case of Carl Williams, here it is, a juvenile suspect taken down to the police station, mistreated, denied all access to, meaningful access to a telephone to contact his parents, to even have access to an attorney. Here it is, 15-year-old Johnny Plummer, in 1991, treated the same way. Marcus Wiggins, 1991, 13 years old, taken down to the police station, connected to electrical shocks. They put it on around his fingers, and they plugged this device in the wall that sent electrical currents through this child's body, and he has provided testimony over the years that he felt that he had died. This is coming from a 13-year-old child, meaning 13-year-olds must have an opportunity to grow. But according to the system has taken their growth period and have turned them into a commodity. Commodity for what? To incarcerate them, to lock them up. We already have 2.3 million people that are incarcerated inside of our U.S. prisons, with 65 million that are on parole or probation in this country. Think of all the people that have been wounded as a result of our criminal justice system. Yes, crime occurs. However, it is the responsibility of the police officers to go out and to do their job in a professional manner, and to go out and to catch the person that committed the crime. And even if they know the person that have committed the crime and they have brought that person into police custody and that person has failed to cooperate, police still do not have the jurisdiction nor the authority to torture confessions from anyone. Well, we are a nation right here in the state of Illinois that have shelled out more than $600 million over a course of 11 years in this particular city. Now we're crying over needed costs for the CTA construction. That's what they're going to hit you with. Now they're crying and they're saying, well, guess what? We cannot make our budget. So how in the world are we going to make our budget? They make their budget off the backs of poor people. They increase cigarettes. They increase alcohol. They increase everything that they know that sells regularly in poor African American communities. Here it is, the rich gets the break. The poor must now pay for the rich. That's what our country have basically become. It's become a country that basically have put upon the backs of its citizens the responsibility of its wrongs. In other words, if a police officer goes out and does what happened to brother to the brother in Louisiana, to the brother in Minnesota, Castro. So we take this brother and we gun him down. We take this brother in Louisiana and we gun him down. It's all on video. Everybody and their mothers have seen it. And may I stress, there are probably additional videos that exist. And it shows clear-cut, cold-blooded murder by the police. That's what it shows. However, they'll keep these so-called investigations ticking and going on and going on. They'll dig up all these brothers' criminal records, as they have already done, and they will fill this garbage into the ears of the media, which the media will print, they will air, and people will see, and people will now begin to judge these young brothers based off of their past. Something that did not even occur at the scene are now used as elements to dismiss, used as elements to basically belittle, as to discredit the credibility of what we have witnessed all across this nation. We are people that must begin to comprehend to the fact that what we don't get up to protect, we lose. How do we lose it? Because one day we're going to need what we are failing to protect. Right now, this nation, this is a nation that is so hard-headed. It's a nation that is, it gave back the public aid assistance back in 1996, 97, 98. It gave it back. It said, guess what? We don't need this. We can make it. And if we can make it, we're going to provide jobs. Well, people didn't see that there was a scheme behind all of this. And the scheme behind all of this was the nightmare of 9/11, where that we paid trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars for a war in which the nation, man, they didn't even want. They did not even want the war, but they were charged for this war. You know, what type of mess is going on? What type of mess is going on? I don't think that we fully understand that as a people that we can achieve. Yes, we can achieve. It makes right now no common sense here in America for us to constantly keep on debating and debating and debating. Man, it's in black and white. It's in color. What happened to this young brother, Mr. Sterling, is a nightmare. It's a tragic. It should never have occurred. But now that it have occurred, we see how the system undercoverly through their FOP is trying to paint a whole total different picture of brother Anton Sterling. This was a brother that was 37 years of age. Here it is, I'm talking about, it had to be about maybe at best, what, 20 some hours later? Now we're faced with another brother being gunned down inside of a automobile, and just basically treated like a dog. Would this have occurred had the police officer approached the vehicle of a Caucasian? Would this police officer had shot the Caucasian? Raises a great question. Would the police officers had arrested a Caucasian in Louisiana for selling CDs and maybe cigarettes and other little things to make ends meet? We are a nation that have put a penalty on every little thing that someone does in this world. And it has become to be a police state, a police nation. That's what it has become. We are a nation. We, the people, have become a nation that have acted so cold-hearted, so ruthless to the rights of our own children. Hit your child and see how quick you go to jail or lose your job. Well, there'll probably be a combination of both. Now complain that the police rung your doorbell and smacked the shit out of your child. Just smacked the dog shit out of your child. You got it on video. You take it down to your local news media. Your local news media is airing it everywhere. Where is the agencies that are in play to protect children? That's who should be involved in some of these cases where that men have found themselves inside of interrogation rooms and police officers cross the line to try to sustain convictions, in which in many cases they did sustain convictions. Police officers go right before the judge. Yeah, Your Honor. No, we didn't provide him with any opportunity to his parents. No, we didn't give him a telephone call. No, we didn't do that. No, we didn't do this. And they get away with it. So, what I'm asking people to do is to get involved. Man, we got so many groups out here. So many different groups that are out for your best interests. That are out in the streets, even as I speak right now today. We all know that wrongful conviction in this country, man, it's very high. Why is it very high? Because we, the people, we ignore issues like this. And it's went on for years and years and years, and it went under the radar. That's what ends up happening. It goes up under the radar, and when it goes up under the radar, bam, the system gets away with it. Taking a kid down to the police station and smacking the dog shit out of them is a crime. That's what it is. That's a crime. And I hate to be so bold as to how I express things to you, but maybe that's what you need to hear. That's what happened. And they take them down to the police stations and put them in overboard situations in which they can just override their rights. So now what ends up happening is that your child is in prison, because that's what happens once this occurs, because it goes hand in hand. The police denied your child that access to a telephone, and denied you access to your child, and denied your child all other rights as way to contribute to get away with, guess what they did to your child. So a lot of people in this country, they ain't caught on, and they just like, oh man, shoot, little Timmy was a wild child and little Timmy could have done it. So now you have turned your own child into a murderer because the system says, guess what? He confessed. You ain't paid attention to what's flying all over the airways and here on social media and what's flying all through the newspapers. But you label your child as something that they are not. We got to change our thinking. If an agency is into play, and that agency can lock you up if you touch a child, if you psychologically abuse a child, if you rape a child, they will lock you up. That's what happens to you and I. But a police officer can grab a child's genitals, unzip their pants, and connect electrical shock boxes to them, can beat them, call them racial names, can smack them all around, and it's perfectly legal. So we the people, we must get out and to demand accountability towards our police officers that carry out these brutal, gruesome acts of murder, of assault, of torture, and the depriving of rights of suspects. We are people that must speak up a little bit more about this. I know what you did over the weekend. I know. Okay, now, what have you done to change what is in effect today? Lawmakers are there for you. That's what they're there for. Maybe they didn't give you a meeting. Maybe they don't know what your situation is. That's when you mobilize. And then you go back to that office, 20, 30 people, and you demand what you want. If they don't give you what you want then guess what? You go back with the news media and you put those people on blast. Why in the hell are we a nation of people that settle for less? Why are we a nation of people that are being gunned down? Matter of fact, just recently, and I was watching a chase by police officers in a different state, and they were chasing after a suspect that was allegedly to have stolen a car. And just watching the video, the police officers gently pursued. Matter of fact, the so-called perpetrator, man, I'm talking about, he was gone. He was doing like 80 or 90, and the police officer was barely trailing them at about 55 to 60. Okay? The guy's car ends up in a ditch. The police officers come just as nice and ask the guy, listen here, to step out of the car. No guns drawn, no nothing. Took the man to jail. Well, why in the hell are cars that are driven by African Americans, Latinos, Mexicans, why are they approached differently by law enforcement? We all know it centers around racism, but you got black commanders and black superintendents. Things have changed. And those are the ones that are dictating the policies that these officers are following out there in the street, believe it or not. And these officers are being instructed basically how to kill, how to steal, and how to destroy. It ain't nothing about being a peacemaker. It's not nothing about being calm as a police officer. They want everything to be hyped up all over this globe. We're watching where that police officers are crying out for additional police officers, and even once they get the additional police officers, year or two later, they're crying for more. Why? Because they're claiming that this is why the crime is out of control. I differ, and I say that the crime is out of control, and it has a lot to do with a lack of jobs. It has a lot to do with what's called hidden racism now today. It has a lot to do with what we permit inside of our prison systems now today. It has a lot to do with how we are being basically kept even out of communities that some of us may want to live in right now today, but can't go there because we are discriminated only because of the skin of our color. These are conditions that are so out of control, that are riot forming all over this nation. And this nation's approach is to be calm. Just be calm. We'll shoot little Timmy tomorrow. So now you are calm, and I'm not saying go out in the streets and to loot and to do destructive things. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all. There are state capitals all over this globe. There are city halls all over this globe. There are police stations all over this globe. We, the people, we need to go back and to take back what we are shelling our hard-earned tax dollars to pay. Those are our police stations. Those are our courthouses. Those are our jails. Those are our prisons. All of this stuff out here belong to us. We've been poisoned right here. That's what we've been poisoned. Whatever the system tells you, just follow it. And guess what? You'll have a nice, rosy, wonderful life. The American dream. Right now, today, in dealing with police misconduct in Chicago and all over this globe, African Americans who approach police officers in most instances, man, they got to do that with another Caucasian. You know why? They may end up in jail. Police officers get to digging all into their little backgrounds and stuff, and they love these disgruntled type women, men. They love this, the chaos in the family, because that's how they get their little dirt, and they take that little dirt and whatnot, and they put it up under a magnifying glass, and when they get through magnifying something that is so minor, don't even make common sense. So they go out with the judge and they have coffee and lemonade and Kool-Aid and 15,000 drinks. Because that's what most of them do. They are the most drinkingest people in this world. And they sit right there judging cases all day long. And they sit there and they work out deals. Yeah, deals. How they gonna treat you? Well, you know, across this nation, we can't take little Peter down for the little marijuana joint anymore. We got to issue him a ticket. Joe says, well, guess what? Those gangbangers in the neighborhood is sure enough a problem. What are we going to do about this problem? The judge says, well, guess what? You got to put a tack on them. Say he swung on you. That's what you say. Bring it before me, and I'll make sure that we fill up our prison systems. I'll make sure. I know it was nothing that a little Timmy just stepped out of the car, but guess what? We need to make our quota, you know, and we need to go on and put them on where they belong. We're going to make this a nation which is going to be filled with people, and they can't vote. Nobody but our people. And That's what it's becoming to be. That's what it's becoming to be all over this globe. That's what it's becoming to be. You got men and women inside of prisons, and oh man, they love black people because they give you a job. Say, hey man, come on in, shoot. You need a job in law enforcement? Sure, we'll make you a correctional guard, or we'll just make you guess what, the sheriff. Damn it, come on in, you're the damn sheriff. Come on in there. Treat those guys like shit. So now you release them back out into society after treating them like shit. So they see that sheriff. Now you sitting back talking about, well, you know, guess what? They says that JoJo was released out of a jail, and he took back to the street some tensions that created behind the jail walls. Well, the jail people ain't telling you they beat the shit out of them. So now so-and-so sees the sheriff out there and says, well, hey, guess what? This sucker beat the hell out of me inside that jail. And this is where he lived. Oh, God damn it. So we ain't learned that yet. So how do we change a broken nation? Because that's what it is. It's broken. You know, we all grew up on The Price is Right. This is Bob Barker and The Price is Right. Come on down. Right now he is the biggest money drawer in our Department of Corrections. All he do is give him some clothes and shoes and a little soap. Oh man, I think hell he makes some toilet paper and give him some the toilet paper and little Kleenexes and stuff like that. Yeah, the Bob Barker does that, and he just loves the prison system. He can give it away to him cheap because he already a billionaire based off of our prison system. He just kick back, clock it in dollars. The quietest millionaire, someone who everybody grew to love. And behind the scene, right here, behind the scene, he was standing on that stage saying, come on down. Come on and fill my jails and prisons up. And that's what you see right now today. Yes, he is an advocate for animal rights, but he is also and should be labeled as a torturer. He sells to the torturers. He sit down and will and deal with the torturers. Right now, if you did it, you go to jail. Shoot, they get awards and extra money. It just banks on in. They say, thank you. So we have witnessed clearly all across America where that police officers have violated the rights of people, and they go right in the courtroom and say, no, Your Honor, we never did that, never been mentioned of it. Oh, shoot, I have 17 gold stars and 15 medals. Oh, yes, for hunting down the wrong guys and bringing them in. Okay, well, if you do a close examination, those same characters sitting there testifying in that courtroom then wrongfully convicted multiple different people. People just sitting in prison. Then it comes out against them 20 years later. There was a sheriff here in Illinois, and he was presumably had been assassinated while out doing his job. He called in and complained, or at least reported, that there were 3 suspects or 3 suspicious people that he had stopped. Well, the police officer is found shot to dead on the side of the road. I think it was in Fox Lake. And once this detective does this, and his name was G.I. Joe, and they was making him like he was so innocent and he was the best of the whole force. Yeah, G.I. Joe. And the people was crying, oh, G.I. Joe is gone. Oh. What they didn't tell the people is G.I. Joe had a past. And his past wasn't just stealing money. G.I. Joe was one of them detectives and police officers that if he came to your house, guess what? He was going to be confrontational. And not only was he going to be confrontational, he was going to treat you like you was a piece of shit. That was G.I. Joe. So we say, oh man, G.I. Joe, he was gunned down. So the polar corner, Rudd, he comes out and says, guess what? G.I. Joe was not assassinated. The man committed suicide. Oh, the pathologist is a damn liar. He don't know his job. He don't know how to do this. He don't do this. A few days later, it was the biggest scandal in Fox Lake. They were stealing all the charity money. Not only stealing all the charity money, they was involved in some of the most devious corruption in the goddamn town. And they turned the man into a hero. Well, as soon as I heard his name, I heard somebody say, hey, do you know his name? His name is G.I. Joe. I say, well, guess what? That's a torturer. In closing, let's support all juveniles that are sentenced inside of our prison serving natural life. In closing, I say every police officer that deprive youth of their constitutional and statutory rights while inside of police stations must be held accountable. Thank you for listening to Back in Society. Thank you.